state of affairs. Meanwhile, sorry, back to Alastair Hilton, who we had to rudely interrupt. Alastair, good to see you.
See you.
The story, which I'm hoping we're going to find a little video for, which is where a lot of people would have seen you first of all. You got involved with this sort of dispute, didn't you, on the streets of the towpath, if you like. For those people who don't know, it's a lovely little bit of the river in Chiswick in West London, where there's a couple of pubs, which I've been to, funnily enough, strangely enough, which are lovely, great pubs. But there was some ridiculous council manoeuvre, wasn't there?
There was a council manoeuvre.
People sitting outside.
3 pubs in a row, in one of the most beautiful areas in the whole of England, I think, by the river, had chairs out for the last 60 years, 70 years, whatever, forever. Green councillor decided he didn't like them. He lives nearby. And I saw that they were literally sent the enforcement officers round and said, take your chairs away, you can't have your chairs. I saw about this and I thought, well, this is wrong, to put it very mildly. This is wrong. So I tweeted about it. I've got a number of followers on Twitter, so people saw that and went, yeah, this is blooming wrong.
Right.
So it went bonkers.
It's like the fun police want you not to have any fun, right?
Exactly. It's like people who move near to a pub and then don't want a pub there.
Right.
So that's exactly what it's like. So basically, the Green Council went, whoa, no, I love pubs. I don't want pubs shut down. No, nothing to do with me. And suddenly it was all, no, it's all okay and we'll do it, which is how it should have been. You know, they hadn't filled in some form, these pubs. Right. Fine, just go, well, look, tick the box, mate, send it off. Yeah, job done, no problem. So it should never have got to that point. Next day, so obviously the councillor wasn't very happy that I'd made him look a bit silly for all this thing. So next day I was sat in a pub chatting with a person, packed pub on Strand on the Green. In walked 2 coppers. Can we have a word with you?
Right. So they came right up to you. No, they knew who you were.
Normally, I'm facing a pub. Yeah. Normally, I'm facing a pub. I had my back to it because I was speaking to somebody, and so they came up behind me. How they knew who I was, I was pointed out, obviously. Right. Well, I was pointed out by the Green Councillor, who happened to be there videoing the whole beautiful scene, it turned out. How unusual, yes. Yes. So he was there with front row seats. So anyway, I then went outside with the police. I started filming them because I thought this is all a bit strange. Yeah. So I said, I'll film this. And the police officer basically said, do you know you shouldn't break laws? I'm like, well, I haven't broken any laws. He said, no, I know you haven't broken any laws. Well, why are you here? And it was this bizarre conversation where the whole setup of the police was to come and threaten me and bully me. Right. To shut up, right? So
it's one of these conversations where the police say, you haven't committed any crimes, but I'm just here to tell you that if you are thinking of committing any crimes, this is what might happen. It's bizarre, isn't it?
It was a classic example of the police being used to bully somebody into, look, we don't like what you said, don't say anything again. You haven't broken any laws, but just don't do it again.
It's kind of intimidatory, isn't it?
100%. That's why they sent 2 coppers into a pub, packed pub.
I think we've got the video. Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, I presumed you were.
I was waiting for the conversation to get to that point. Ultimately, it's more of a just so you're aware opposed to a insinuation or accusation. Are you aware that if you schedule a protest outside a policeman's house, it's an offence?
I haven't scheduled.
So are you aware of that one? Yes or no? If not, I'll have to read out the legislation to you.
Yes. Yeah, hold on. Whoa. I haven't scheduled any protests.
I'm not saying you have. I'm saying, are you aware that?
All right, we know where this is going. All right, carry on.
Okay. Just so you're aware.
Yeah.
Section 162 of the Crime Police Act 2026.
Bear in mind, I was in the Bell and Crown, nowhere near his house.
What are you talking about? Today, you mean?
Now or anywhere.
Okay. And this is just raising awareness.
Okay.
That's literally what it is.
We're using the fear tactics, but carry on.
Not at all.
Oh, we are.
Not at all.
Well, not we, you. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, feel free to say that. I'm just. Do you want to read out the legislation to you or no?
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay.
So.
And are you aware that what you have been doing, you posted? Let me finish. The posting going past certain people's houses.
Posting what, sorry?
Posting going past their houses.
Whoa. No, I have not posted going past anybody's house.
On live stream?
No.
Okay. Have you not posted?
No.
Let me finish
No.
sentence. Have you not posted the fact he lives very nearby to a set?
That's right.
What I'm trying to say.
Hold on, look how many houses. Right, let's just go. Look how many houses there are here.
2 seconds. This is not an accusation again. That's why
Mate, you're being used as a hard man to scare. That's what you're being used as.
I'm having an adult conversation with you.
No, and that's the way it normally goes.
I'm having an adult conversation with you.
Oh
said to you and your mate,
yeah.
It's up to you if you want to listen. So.
No, I'm listening. I know how you work. So carry on.
How I work,
Because you're threatening. Because a councillor.
I'm not threatening you at all. I'm giving
The
you
conversation
advice.
is
Yeah, I'm giving you advice.
just you turning up in 2 police uniforms is a threat.
This video is sponsored by Tally Money. I'm delighted to be joined in the studio by CEO and founder Cameron Parry. Cameron, very good morning to you. Nice to see you. Tell us what Tally Money is.
Well, at Tally Money, you get a savings account powered by gold. So we give you a sort code and account number in your name, just like a normal bank account, but instead of sitting in pounds, you now have milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. And how does it actually work sort of day to day? Do you check the gold price every day? Do you need to do that? How does that?
We use the spot price, what's called the spot price in gold, and that updates every minute. It's a live price. We don't charge any premiums or FX margins on anything on that. You just go about your day as though it was any other mainstream foreign currency, except that you see all your transactions in real time and you're not getting charged international transaction fees and things like this.
Okay, so if I move some of my money into Tally because I've just opened an account, what happens to it? And is it one of those things that I'll just be watching all day to go, ooh, look what's happening today?
You might do, but you've probably got better things to do with your time, to be honest, Mike. I don't actually think about the little movements in price because I know over time that on average it goes up more than 12% per annum, and it has each year for the last 10 years. Bank savings products or current accounts just can't compete with that at all. But the main thing is my money's sitting there. It's my direct ownership of an asset. When I use my Tally card, in London to buy a cup of coffee, the merchant still gets pounds.
Yeah, okay. To find out more about Tally Money and for a special offer for viewers of the Mike Graham Show, simply scan the QR code or click the link in the description right here.
If you turned up with a jacket on and you weren't coppers,
I don't work in
I realise that.
If I did, 100% that would be the case.
I mean, that's extraordinary, isn't it? You handled it very well, by the way, because I think, Pooch and I, knowing each of us as we are, I think I'd been probably a bit more irate, but you stayed calm.
Bear in mind, I had actually had a few drinks then.
Yeah, right.
And because you're allowed to in a pub, when you sat there. So, I think it was one of those where I had to keep my calm because I was fuming.
Yes.
I was absolutely fuming. You can see on that clip, I actually said, you're being used as a bully.
Yeah,
no, I'm not. Well, you are.
Well, of course you are. That's not police business, is it?
That isn't. And it's not like they're investigating a crime because at that point, he actually said, somewhere on the video, he goes, no, I've looked at it and you haven't committed a crime.
Right.
Well, so you're not even investigating.
And what was all this nonsense about filming outside people's houses? I mean, it sounds to me like if there was any footage.
I had actually deliberately not filmed or photographed or anything that councillor's house.
Right.
Not at all.
Right.
And I'd made a deliberate point because straight away I would have been in trouble. He'd then have some sort of grounds to go, I deliberately had never, ever, ever have I had his house in any
But
video.
I mean, if you're filming a street though, right, and you're
it's
walking...
not illegal, but his point was, well, you included his house. Well, no, I didn't. It wasn't in any video.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Never.
Right. And that's the problem, isn't it? Because you're a photographer by profession, so you know the rules and you know exactly where you can go and where you can't go. A lot of ordinary people who may have posted something on Twitter wouldn't necessarily know that. And so they can then be intimidated and they don't know whether they've got any rights or not.
And we do see this. I do see this as a photographer going around London a lot, where I do know the rules and I know I can stand here and I can photograph this or that or the other.
Right.
And quite often, regularly, you'll get security, not police, but security come up, you can't photograph that. Well, yes, I can actually. But also what people don't realise in a lot of parts of London now are private land.
Yeah.
Most of King's Cross is private land.
Canary
Most
Wharf
of
is like that,
Paddington
isn't it?
is private land.
Yeah.
Canary Wharf is private land. So actually, they can stop you doing everything. So that's a little bit of a worry, actually.
Yes.
You've got a lot of your rights have been taken away by what you think is public land in London is not. It's private. And they do have security. patrolling, 24/7. So you have got to be a bit careful on
Yes,
that.
but the trouble is, as you say, it's now kind of expanded into nonsense, hasn't it? So where people claim that they've got rights over you which they don't have.
Correct,
Which
and
is
that's
what
why it's really important to know
Yeah.
what your rights are, because
Yeah.
if you know what your rights are, and I know what my rights are as a photographer,
Yeah.
I know I can film this, photograph that, and it's 100% legal. But what the police will try and do, and it shows on that video, what they will try and do is go, well, listen, we're going to come round and scare you.
Yeah.
If you do something we don't like.
Right.
And that's wrong. It's 100% wrong.
Totally.
Because, again, on that video, I had called the police, or my daughter had a few days before that, or a week before that, whatever, smashed a window, people smashing a window in a bedroom of a boat, called the police, and they went, we can't come round because it's already happened. That was their actual response.
Wow.
We won't come out because the crime's happened.
Yeah.
So this is a young girl, woman, 24 years old, had a window smashed in, called the police, nothing. I called the police when I had my phone ripped out my hands, blah, blah, blah. Called them, told them where the phone was because it had a tracker on it. No,
Not
mate,
interested.
not
No.
interested.
No.
So
I had
you
the same
call-
thing. The only time they got interested was when I wrote a piece for the Telegraph about it, and then suddenly they were very excited and got in touch and was like, is there anything we can do? Please fill out this form. I was like, I've already filled out a form. I've already told you where it is. I can see where it is now. You still aren't doing anything.
Exactly,
right?
you can see. And after I said about it, again, I posted that on Twitter X or whatever, ages ago at the time, said I told them, and hundreds, thousands of people went, yeah, that happened to me.
Yeah.
I told them it was in number 1 Acacia Avenue, and
Yeah.
they went, yeah.
We've had
whatever.
cases, haven't we, before of people. I remember there was a guy a couple of years ago, maybe, who had his motorcycle stolen, and he tracked that to a sort of lock-up in a particular road round the back of some houses. Took the police there and said, "It's behind there. Look, here's the tracker.
Yeah.
It's behind that door," and they wouldn't open the door, and they said, "Well, we can't do anything." And he's like, well, my bike's there. It's been stolen by the person that owns this. It's like, what's wrong with them? But it's part of the problem, isn't it, that we've all now witnessed, I suppose, that the police are actually now becoming more politicised. They do things at the behest of politicians.
I think
more
every
than they
day,
do about
every
actual
day we
criminals.
see that. Every day, and that was an example of a video you showed, but every day we see an example of the police being used not for crime, but to go round and stop people saying stuff that they don't like.
Right.
We've seen so many of examples of this where they know that a crime hasn't been committed. They even arrest people and then let them go. But the people go, well, why did you arrest? Well, the whole purpose was the arrest.
Yeah.
That was the whole purpose. The purpose wasn't to put them in jail or to have any prosecution. The purpose was arrest them, scare the hell out of them. They won't do that again.
Yes, and
Daily
probably that works. It's probably a winning formula
I'm
for them.
blooming sure it works.
Yeah. And you're also interesting in some of the posts you've been doing lately about, and I'm very fascinated by this because we talk about it a lot. The only growth area, it seems to me, that's happened in this country in the last 20 years has been in the public sector, and the numbers of people who are now working for either local authorities or national agencies, quangos, government departments. There's just it's ballooned, hasn't it?
It has ballooned. It doesn't even come close. I looked up, and in 1922, Great Britain, as it was then, ruled the biggest amount of the world.
Yeah.
It ruled something like 30 or 40% of the land area of the world. At that time, they had 300 to 350,000 civil servants. Okay, that's having to control almost half of the planet.
Right.
Now, we only have to look after a tiny, tiny little island, Britain, and we have 557,000. It's doubled when the amount of jobs that they could possibly do, and also they didn't have computers back then. So any calculation would take you 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Now you go, done, done.
Yeah.
And so we've doubled the number of civil servants and yet decreased what they have to do. So it doesn't take a genius to realise that most of those civil servants are sat on some sunny island. Most of those civil servants don't ever go into the office, ever.
Right. Yeah, we had a story just last week, I think, about the Bank of England, where apparently some quite large percentage of people who work for the Bank of England are allowed to work abroad for 3 months of the year. So they're basically on an extended holiday somewhere, and they never have to go into the office when they're here. If they do go in, it's no more than 1 or 2 days a week. It's not like working at all.
I deal with a lot of private companies, small ones, big ones, whatever, and people do work from home, great, but they also go into an office and they also are regulated of what they're actually doing. Somebody knows what these people are doing. They know, well, John has only done this much today.
Right.
In the government, they have no idea.
No
idea what these people are doing, who they are, where they are. They never see them.
Well, you can see, for example, I mean, just take a look at the paper this morning, right? You've got the Times story here about Thames Water. One of the first things that Andy Burnham said he was going to do when he got into power, I'm going to privatise, I'm going to nationalise Thames Water. I'm going to take it out of private ownership. We're going to make it into a proper company. It's outrageous the way it's being run. Today, they've admitted they're not going to do it. Because they can't, because it's too hard, it's too expensive,
right.
And the rules don't really allow them to take over a private company.
Any time a government says it can't do something, what it actually means is it doesn't want to do something.
Right.
If a government wants to do it, boom, it's done.
But it's going to be too expensive. But the point is and my point about Andy Burnham, and we've been saying actually today that people actually like Keir Starmer now more than they like Andy Burnham, because Starmer, even though he was useless and an authoritarian and not a very nice individual and hopeless at his job, at least you knew that when you looked at him. Whereas with Burnham, he's trying to make out that he's Mr. Nice Guy, he's playing the guitar, he knows a couple of Smith songs, he's from Manchester, which he isn't. And he's like, the sort of the acceptable face of communism.
But where are we at as a country where we go, well, Keir Starmer may have been better than Andy Burnham. I mean, it's like, my goodness.
No, I know.
We are at the absolute bottom of the barrel, and we're going, well, is this disaster zone better than that complete and utter disaster zone? These are not the people that should be running anything.
No.
Anything whatsoever. And the water companies, what you see, I go to South Coast and on the water sometimes around there, full of sewage.
Yeah, it's awful.
Sewage floating down the river.
And it's actually better now than it used to be.
But this is in sunny days when they used to say, well, it was because of all the rain and then blah, blah. It hasn't rained for 100 years.
But when it does rain, don't worry, there will be a sewage overflow.
But there's sewage now, and what happens with the water companies each time is they get given the money, they give it to the shareholders and then go, we've got no money, we've got to put our bills up. They haven't built a reservoir for 30, 40 years or whatever it is. Now I saw they want to charge more when there's a water shortage.
Yeah.
Well, they've produced the water shortage by not building any reservoirs and then go, there's a water shortage.
And also
so
by allowing billions of litres of water to leak into the ground for as long as I can remember. Do you remember back in, it was about 2010, they were supposedly redoing all of the Thames water pipes around London in time for the Olympics, right? I think they're still doing it. They started in 2010, it's now 2026, and every now and again you'll see a Thames water van pull up and you go, what are you doing? Oh, we're fixing the leak, really. It's just ridiculous. It was like, the stuff falls, I would say, how is it possible to make a loss out of something that falls from the sky for free? And all you've got to do is sell it to people without any competition.
But they're not making a loss as such, because what's happening is the people who own the company are getting very, very rich. So they don't care about fixing leaks. They don't care about any of that, because when they want some more money, they put the prices up. So the people running the company, or the company's Thames Water or whichever water company, they're doing very, very well.
Yes.
Whether their bottom line shows whatever, that's irrelevant to them.
Right.
They're earning their £1 million a year.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what happens further down there.
No, indeed. And you live on the river, right, in a narrow boat. How is that? What's that like?
I like it. I mean, I've lived on it now for over 8 years. I've got a narrow boat. It's on the canal.
Do you move it around?
I move it around. Yeah, I can't at the moment because there's a water shortage. so the canals are a bit low on water, so you're not meant to use the locks and whatever at the moment. So at the moment, I'm sort of stopped where I am. But I move all over London and out of London, Birmingham and Oxford and down the Thames and everywhere. And I think what is good about living on a boat is you actually get to learn more about bits of London when you're living in them.
Yes.
So, if you only live in Chiswick, you'll go and visit other bits of London. But if you're living in Limehouse or, Hackney or whatever, even for a couple of weeks at a time, you get a really good feel of what that area is like.
Yes, okay. And in terms of the Green councillor and all of that, has that all gone away now, or is there?
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. Do you still go to the pub?
I haven't been to those pubs for a little while. I thought I don't really fancy having a chat with more coppers when I'm having my pint. So, so I thought I found other pubs to go to for a little bit.
Yeah.
I will put a sort of a cap and a fake moustache on and go there again though. Soon.
Yes, it's got to be done. And meanwhile, you're obviously a kind of I'm going to say reluctant member of the free speech society, as it were. But we're kind of all getting to know each other, and we're all kind of we're all trying to get this bloody country of ours to be right, to be doing the right things, and it's going horribly wrong, I think, for so many people in so many ways. That I think there's enough people though now realising that and becoming a bit of a movement.
Follow the new channel, the revolution.
Follow the new channel, yeah. Well, the revolution will be televised because it will be right here on UK Live.
But I think what I do is I am all over London, sort of thing, and the rest of the country. But I'm all over London, and I photograph what I see, and I say what I see, and I think that's what's important.
Sure.
Is going. Here's a photograph. This is what I'm seeing.
Because a lot of what happens now is that the government is trying to convince you of something that you can see isn't true.
Correct.
Right? Like that's a woman. No, I don't think it is actually. But you can call it that if you want, but I don't think so. Or that is that's a speed limit. Oh, really? Is it? Because you have to save the planet. One of the most ridiculous things I've spotted, I think, in recent times has been the clean air. Manoeuvrings out by Heathrow Airport, where you get out to Heathrow and you can smell the aviation fuel in the air, right? And it's telling you can't go over 60 miles an hour.
It actually has,
it's a clean
on the
air
overhead
zone.
gantries, it says speed reduced for air quality, and you think...
And I can smell the kerosene.
This is insanity.
It really is.
It's literally insanity.
Yeah. And then this morning I was driving into work, overtaken by a cyclist. Yeah. And I'm thinking, there's something wrong with that. I've got a Maserati. I'm not boasting about that, but it does more than 20 miles an hour. But not in London.
Not in London, it doesn't.
We said Pooch, there was a guy who broke the land speed record in a hydrogen car over in the Salt Flat somewhere in America yesterday. And I said, well, try driving that in London, because you never get it out of, you wouldn't even get it into first gear.
Well, the average speed in London is 8 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And that's bonkers.
I know. Absolutely mad. Well, listen, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Where can people see your photography mostly?
You
Is it online?
You can see me on my on Twitter, on X, and then that can direct you to my website, etc. So I'm London_W4.
Great stuff. Good to see you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Alastair Hilton, ladies and gentlemen, who won a very big fight against the police and did it in great style, I have to say.